Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Nurse Court Budgets. Welcome to my 2026 budget planning session slash setup video for the new year. So I've been kind of alluding to the fact that I'm gonna change things up for the new year, and I've been kind of doing recaps on where I am in my budgeting journey, what went well last year, what didn't do so well, what worked for me, what didn't. And so I've come up with a few conclusions. One of them is that I really enjoyed kind of the budgeting videos that I used to do, where I would budget my paycheck, do a monthly budget, that kind of stuff. I really enjoyed those videos, so I think I want to try to get back into doing some of those in 2026. I kind of cut off doing a lot of those videos for many months and was just doing like cash stuffing and savings games challenges. And while I enjoy that, one of the things that's going to change for the new year is I think I'm going to go cashless. It's going to be a little hard for me to make that transition. But what I discovered when I was reviewing my budget and reviewing from last year, that I was only making extra mortgage payments. I only made 3 this last year. And I have my tracker here. The third one is getting ready to come out. So let me just go here real quick to my debt tracker in my binder, and we'll talk about it a little bit. So I started out last year and my balance was like 156, 789.12. That was my total. Should I zoom in? Maybe I'll zoom in a little bit. There you guys go, so you can see a little bit better. So my original loan was 160,000. And so last year when I started the first year of my mortgage, I didn't make any, I was just making the minimum payment and not really making much extra. And so last year, partly because I was trying to finish paying off some furniture that I had bought for my house, and so I did that. And then last year I really decided to focus on trying to pay extra on my mortgage. And I was planning on doing it every month. And then the way I was playing with the savings games, I wouldn't always finish the challenges by the end of the month. And so the money was kind of hanging over till the next month. And sometimes it would take 2 or 3 months. And so I decided that this year, I want to make consistent monthly payments extra on my mortgage. So I had a balance of 156, 789.12 is what I had mentioned just a little bit ago. I don't have my updated balance yet for when I pay this last big payment on my mortgage, because that's coming out. I'll be making that here in just a few days for the end of December. That will go actually towards my January 1st payment, but it will hit before the end of the year. And so I basically did 3 extra mortgage payments throughout the year. I did one that was $2,030, and then in September, October, I did $3,692, and then now I'm getting ready to make an extra one of $3,878. And so I don't have my updated balance because that hasn't applied yet, but I will update this as we go. But I lowered my balance from 156, 789.12 to right now it's 149, 136.58. That will obviously change in a few weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, whenever I get my updated principal payment paid on there. So anyway, so all that to say is whenever I was, and I can show you like here, my tracker that I was using as kind of like my savings, how much money I was saving on my savings games. Let me scoot that back up. At the end of each month. So in January I had $389, $634 in February. I did finally have $1,000 in March. So that's whenever I was able to pay that extra, and that went out on May 1st. And then, so as you can see, kind of they vary from month to month on how much money I was actually turning over in the savings challenges. Some months it wouldn't be very much, some months it would be more. And then like in September I had a huge month. I had $1,630 that I had saved. So it just kind of was not consistent, and I wanted to make consistent payments extra on my mortgage. And this although it was working, and I would take the money then and move it over to my account and then pay it off once I had some accumulated, I really want to try to get in the habit this year of making consistent payments extra every month. So that being said, I've redone my budget, and I decided to go ahead and include my mortgage payment in my actual budget for 2026, my monthly budget. So this, I just kind of did a mock monthly budget of what roughly this will kind of be what it'll look like for each month. So I have my paychecks down, and then I have gotten a little bit of an increase in wages. Every year we get our evaluations and we get a little bit of an increase. So I've had an increase in that, and then with my certification, I've had a little bit of an increase. But roughly I will be bringing home about $58.43.62 a month. And so what I decided to do was break that down into my monthly bills that I know are going to come out no matter what. And so I have my monthly giving, and then my IRA, and then what I changed up is my extra on my mortgage. I decided to go ahead and include the $800 a month extra on the mortgage into my payment. So my payment went up this year, like a couple months ago, and it's because my taxes and insurance, mostly my insurance, is what took a huge jump. And so my escrow account didn't have enough money in it, and so then my monthly payment has gone up to $1,605 something, I think it was. And it was less than $1,500 last year. And so, yeah, it took definitely a big jump. So I want to try to get my mortgage paid off as quickly as I can, and then I won't have to worry about everything going up so crazy. But I decided to do that, and so I'm just going to just kind of call my mortgage payment $2,410, and that's what I've got to pay every month. And that's going to be just like a bill. And so that's what I decided to try to do this year, was just include it already in my monthly expenses. Then I have my car insurance, my water, my electric, trash, all of that is pretty consistent. My water varies a lot during the summer. In the winter months, it's like $35 to $40, but in the summer months, it could even probably be more than $70 when I'm watering a lot. But my car insurance, I think, is like $118 something. My electric is pretty much spot on because I'm on the leveling plan. And then trash, internet, all that's pretty much the same. My Apple Music is $10.99. And then my Apple iCloud did go up this year because I just had to increase the amount of storage because my phone was getting so full. So I went up to now paying $9.99 a month from $2.99. So and then I guess I need to go and try to like get rid of stuff on my phone. But instead I just said, yeah, I'll pay more a month. And then I have Discovery Plus, which is streaming. I have a social subscription to a channel that I follow for gardening and stuff like that. And then I also am paying for Audible right now and getting a credit a month for a audiobook because I've been doing, as I travel a lot for my job, especially some weeks. And so I am paying $14.95 a month right now for Audible to be able to have access to audiobooks that I want to listen. I can also get them through the Libby app, which is free, and that works great, but sometimes you're on a wait list for those, and I'm in this series that I wanted to be able to just move right on into, so I signed up for Audible. So anyway, so that is my total monthly more fixed expenses. And then over here is my cash envelopes, which I decided to not do for 2026. I was doing like sinking funds and cash envelopes, and I've decided not to do that. And I'm just going to be saving a certain amount each month and keeping it in my checking account, basically. Because I don't do a lot of cash. More transactions are electronic than they are cash these days, and so it's just a little bit easier for me to stay and to go cashless. So that's what I'm doing for this year. So I went ahead and decided to revamp my variable expenses. That's what these are, really essentially, are variable expenses. So I have my groceries. I went ahead and put in eating out because last year I didn't ever budget for that, and then I kept having a little bit each week. Often I would have an eating out expense, so I decided that I would actually budget for that this year. And then fuel cost for traveling to my job and stuff, that will vary. And then pet care, I increased that a little bit this year because Zoe's getting both dry and wet food. And then personal, I was not budgeting anything for personal, and I decided to do that this year. And then lawn care, obviously right now I don't have lawn care, but I will have, so I'm just going ahead and including that in my budget, and then that will just allow me to kind of build up a little bit, hopefully, in there. And then gifts, I went ahead and included a little bit of gifts each month as well. Some months I will have gifts, a lot of months I won't, so I'll be able to use that extra 50 in either for personal or etc. So that basically leaves me then with my savings. And so because I was doing my mortgage payment and not technically pulling cash out for that, and then stuffing the challenges and stuff like that, I had to kind of revamp my challenges. So right now, I have decided to make my long-term savings binder, so my Thrifty Thursdays, that binder is going to be the $800 a month I'm going to play with in there is going to be representation of my extra on my mortgage. And so that's what I decided to do with that. So I will be continuing with Thrifty Thursdays in my year-long savings challenges. And I thought that would be a great spot for that. And then I am going to continue to try to save a little bit for travel. I was looking at things and I really didn't get a lot into my new car fund last year. I'll give you an update on that. But I decided that I want to, because I know my car is not going to last forever. And that's going to have to be kind of another priority. So travel savings is not as high of a priority as my new car fund and then paying extra on my mortgage. So those are kind of my two top priorities. So that being said, I am going to try to save $200 a month towards my new car fund and then continue the $200 a month for my travel savings. And you know that my $2 Tuesdays are my travel savings money, or is my travel savings money, and that goes towards my travel binder, and I play in my travel binder based on my $2 Tuesday money. So, that will probably continue. I don't think I will play in my travel binder every other week like I was this past year. I probably will maybe just play in it once a month and then play with the full $200. We'll see. I haven't completely committed on that, but I will at some point play in my travel binder and keep track of my travel savings. And then my new car fund, that savings, I have decided that I'm going to use that to fund the Savings Game Sundays. So the Savings Game Sundays, I was playing with $125 a week, and a lot of that was going towards extra on my mortgage. But to kind of keep things separate and into the different areas that I want to focus on for 2026, I decided to cut way back on my Savings Game Sunday amount. So that will essentially, roughly be $50 a week. If there's 4 Sundays in the month, if there's 5 Sundays, it'll be $40 a week that I'll be playing with. So that binder is going to look way different. I'm not going to have as much money to play with, and I won't probably have as many challenges. So we'll just kind of see. That one's going to be evolving as we go, and I figure this out. So that kind of is my plan as far as my budgeting plan, and then how I'm going to save on the Savings Games days and what the days are going to represent. So Savings Game Sunday is going to be for my new car fund. Travel savings obviously is my $2 Tuesday, and then we play in the binder some. And then my extra on my mortgage each month is going to be represented in my Thrifty Thursdays. And so then that basically leaves me like a buffer of like $691. So I don't have any debt other than my mortgage, but so I just wrote that in there as buffer so that it would I would have a zero-based balance, which is kind of how I like to do my stuff. So anyway, I did go ahead and let me zoom you back out here for just a minute. I did go ahead and update my monthly bill calendar. So I had this printed out that I had found somewhere online. It may have been off of Canva, I don't remember. And so this is kind of like my master monthly, like when my bills are due template. So I just refer back to this whenever I'm setting up my monthly calendar. I also have written down all of my like, this is what would have been my sinking funds last year, my yearly subscriptions. I've included a few new ones that I did pay for last year, but I never had updated my tracker. So so that's what all of that is each month, and what I have coming out for each month for as far as my yearly subscriptions and stuff. And then this is my budget category organizer. So I did decide to go with this year. I am going to be doing kind of dual savings. So, no, not dual savings, but dual budgeting, I guess I should say. So I decided to go ahead and stick with the Budget Mom budget by paycheck method that I have been utilizing most of last year. This last kind of half of the year, well, not half, but the last quarter, I've really kind of died down on budgeting and tracking and stuff like that, just because life was lifing, and everything got really busy with my dad in the hospital with open heart, and then just the time spent going to rehab afterwards and stuff like that. So I didn't have a lot of time to give extra towards budgeting in those videos, but I decided to kind of make a change on a couple categories. Last year when I was doing this, and I was doing like I was writing down my weekly expenses and then doing like my budget closeout at the end of the month, I discovered that I really wasn't utilizing the entertainment category first off. And so I just scratched that out, and then I had switched it to like budgeting, YouTube, business expenses. And then I have nixed that yet again because I kind of died off on that. I was going to like try to make savings challenges and sell them on Etsy. And so I had bought a bunch of supplies and stuff like that. And then I decided that if I do end up doing that in the future, it's probably going to be all digital stuff. So we'll see. But I kind of have landed on not really selling any challenges right now at this point. And I'm just going to be keeping, up with my freebies and stuff like that up on Ko-fi. So I really didn't have a lot of budgeting business expenses, and I'm not really sure that I'm trying to turn this into a business. It's just, whatever happens, happens, but it's not like I'm focusing on that for sure. So I decided to update that category yet again to garden, because I do have quite a few garden expenses, especially at certain times of the year. Right now, not so much, but definitely in the spring, summer, and even into fall. And so I decided to put garden as one of the categories. And then health and beauty, I really wasn't having a lot of health and beauty expenses. And whenever I was reviewing my budget, like my variable expenses, I realized that I didn't have anything for personal, no category there. So I decided to update that to be personal, and I would throw like haircuts, mani-pedis, my beauty things in there, anything that I want, that kind of stuff, to throw that into the personal category and create that. And then, of course, so groceries, I already have that. And my groceries also includes household items like cleaning supplies, paper products, that kind of stuff. Anything like that is it's kind of all under groceries for me. And then I went ahead and included eating out on my budget this time because I was using that some. Fuel falls under car, for any kind of car maintenance, car insurance, tags and taxes, etc. And then I already had pets for pet care, but I didn't have personal. And then lawn care falls under the house, that category. And that's like my utilities, any kind of house maintenance, mortgage, lawn care, that kind of stuff. And then gifts, I already had a gift category. So I decided that that would work better. I still have my subscriptions categories. So I think this is going to work pretty well by switching it up to personal and then adding in garden. because I do have definitely a lot of like gardening expenses, especially at certain times of the year, like I said. And I will be having some more coming up this spring whenever I have to buy more soil for my garden beds. So anyway, so that's kind of my updated budget category organizer. And then before I jump into, let's see, well, no, we'll just jump into it. So last year I had purchased the Budget Mom Budget by Paycheck workbooks. This is a big old dude. And I had decided to end up using my planner late last year to use it since I had purchased it. I always have grand ideas that I'm going to plan, and it's going to be so pretty, and I just don't. I always think I want to journal and stuff like that, and I just don't. So I decided that I'm not going to end up, so last year I didn't end up using my planner for planning, and I used it for budgeting, and I did that successfully all the way up through like September, whenever I kind of slacked off on everything. But so, and I mentioned that I'm leaning towards going cashless, and I think that's going to be the plan. So I was really torn between doing this workbook and then doing YNAB, because I do like the idea, especially with me going cashless, that I can just have electronic budget and all this stuff. So this year I'm going to do side by side is kind of what I decided, because I'm going to learn YNAB, I'm going to play around in it a little bit more, and then I'm also going to have my Budget by Paycheck budget workbook. So let's take a peek at this. If you're not familiar with this, I know several creators use it, several budgeting people do, so probably a lot of you already are familiar with this workbook. But it has where you can learn how to do the Budget by Paycheck method if you don't already know. It has like this worksheet to like finding your why, which I probably will never fill out, I'll be honest. And then we have like the financial plan. So you can have like short-term goals like that you want to do within 1 year. Like if you needed to do $1,000 emergency fund, if you didn't already have that, that would be a great 1 year goal. Just any kind of short-term goals. Then medium-term goals, something that hopefully within the next 5 years to have saved for. That would be my new car, and then save for the Alaskan cruise. And so those are two of my goals that I have, and so I am going to work on that this year. And then, of course, my long-term goal within 10 to 15 years is to pay off my mortgage. I'm hoping that maybe I can get it under 10 years, but we'll see. And you can put like estimated costs, like how much you think it's going to cost to like save for the cruise, and then like your target date, but I didn't fill out any of that part yet anyway. And then this is the membership and subscription like reminder worksheet. So you can put down like if it's a monthly subscription, an annual subscription. I decided to just put my annual subscriptions on here because my monthly subscriptions, I went ahead and just included them on my bill calendar. So like my Apple iCloud and Discovery Plus, stuff like that. So that's why I decided that I would just list out all my yearly subscriptions here, and then be another way to track it. I still also have them listed down here as well. So I added in, so Willow and Hive is a new subscription that I've been paying for it monthly for a few months now, but I will be switching over to the annual subscription because it's cheaper to do it that way in the long run. So that is a community that I'm a part of for like gardening and herbalism, just stuff like that. And so it's great resources. They put up a lot of good information for us. And so I am enjoying that little community. And then YNAB, because I just had finally decided to go ahead and join. That will be starting up in January because I'm in my free month trial right now. And then I have my P.O. Box, Friendly TV subscription, Sam's Club, and then the WeatherWise app. I generally pay for some kind of a weather app every year to be able to have like more in-depth information to get on the weather. If you follow Ryan Hall, y'all, which I do a lot in severe weather season, he uses this app. And then I have my Canva subscription, Costco, Dropbox, UpTV, which is another streaming service, and then my Amazon Prime. So I have all of those listed out for the year. And then it goes into some savings trackers. So you could have your trackers here if you wanted to, and you could make so much per leaf or so much per little individual section of the leaf. So I am not using probably these trackers, at least not right now. Then it goes into the yearly spending overview, where you obviously have January through December, and you can take, like, when I do my monthly budget recap, and I go through and highlight all my categories and see how much I spent or overspent. This is like a way to keep track of this for the whole year. So you could take that particular page each month and then transfer the information into here, so you can kind of see a total yearly overview at a glance, which would be kind of nice to see. And then this is the budget category organizer in the workbook. I have my sheet that I was playing around with. I may update this as I finally settle on if those categories are going to work well for me this next year. Then I may actually fill those out in here. And then this is just kind of a note sheet. And then we jump into the monthly budget worksheets. And so you can start this particular budget planner, at any time of the year, because these little tabs, there's stickers in the back of the book that you can put on to start basically at any month of the year. So we have the monthly calendar. And so I decided to go ahead and try to include holidays, bills, appointments, birthdays, all the things. And I don't know if I will continue to do all the things as I move forward, but I'm starting out strong, and it will fall off, I already know. So I mainly will be using this to track my bills and when they are due each month, and kind of keep me on track. And that's why I do have this monthly bill calendar worksheet that I can review back to, because it'd be easier to look at that when I'm filling it out every month than having to flip back and forth. So then you jump into your paycheck budgeting tracker. So there are several of these budget tracker sheets, and then there's the cash envelope breakdown. So you could, if you were doing the different envelopes that you were saving for, and like your cash denominations, like 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s, etc., and then how much you need, you could kind of use this as your working teller slip, and then take your bank teller information onto the bank and use this kind of as your worksheet for that. So these two sheets, there are, I believe there's 5 of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yes, so there are 5 of these paycheck budget trackers and cash envelope breakdown worksheets. And that way you have plenty. If you get paid every week, then you would have enough to be able to do your weekly budget paycheck breakdown. So I will probably plan on doing a monthly budget on one, and then I'll probably do my paycheck for the other 2, and then I'll just have some extra. And then we run into our expense trackers sheets. So there are, I believe, 6 of these as well. Let's see. Yeah, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 6 expense tracker worksheets. And my plan is to go ahead and use a checking account probably for a couple of them. And then I will do, I have 3 different credit cards that I could have stuff land upon. 2 of them don't get used like pretty rarely, so I don't have a lot of expenses or a lot of things that land on them, and many months they're 0 balances because I never use them. But I have 3 different cards that could potentially get used, so I will probably have a sheet for each of those, and then use a couple sheets for my checking account. You could also, if you were a cash spender and had your cash envelopes, you could do a cash account and then keep track of all your spending, and when you took cash out and etc., if you wanted to do that, you could. But my plan will just be to do my checking account and then my 3 credit card accounts, and so those 6 sheets will have, that'll be plenty plus for me. And then it has a debt payment plan where you can go in here and write all your debts. If you make extra debt payments, go through and kind of show your progress, last month's total debt balance, this month's total debt balance, and then the progress, and kind of a way to just keep track of all of your debts in one location. Like I said, I just have my mortgage, so I may kind of track this on here. I may continue keeping my mortgage tracker worksheet that I was doing. We'll see. But I'm trying to utilize this book to its best ability, so I'll probably start trying to track stuff in here for this year. And then you can also do a monthly net worth tracker where you can list all your assets and your liabilities, and then how much you are worth, whether you are worth the positive or the negative. And then we have the monthly budget category breakdown, which is what you guys have seen me use when I was doing my planner and I had all my categories and my highlighters. So I went ahead and filled this out just to kind of get this going so you could see that these are the different categories. And as I start listing my daily expenses in here, I will highlight them as I go so that I can easily flip back and then be able to work this at the end of the month and figure out how much I overspent or underspent in the different categories. And then this right here is just another, it's a monthly meal plan, but it's just like another blank monthly calendar. So you could use it for whatever you wanted. If you were using it to plan your social media videos, you could do that. You could obviously do more of your, if you were tracking like working out or whatever, you could just use this monthly calendar for whatever you wanted. So I don't know that I will really use this completely. And I'm not sure what I will use it for if I do. So I'm probably will leave that blank for now. And then a thoughts and notes page where you can write down stuff, use this as a worksheet for something. So that is basically what the Budget Mom workbook looks like. And then it just repeats every month until you get all the way to the end. So I will plan on doing some actual budgeting videos, like I said, in my workbook. And then I'm going to be also doing stuff with YNAB on the side, trying to learn YNAB a little bit better, because probably for 2027, I'm going to move into YNAB completely. So let me show you. I will be, and I don't think I mentioned this, my plan is to, since I am moving digitally into Prop Money, that I am going to make that switch. I know I've been talking about it for a while, but I just don't want to keep that much cash on hand and floating around, even though they're locked away. I just don't want that much cash around in my sinking funds and stuff like that. So that's why I'm kind of moving digitally. So I'm going to be doing a prop swap. Probably, I think I'm going to wait until New Year's Eve, because I have my videos coming out for the end of December. I have my $2 Tuesday and my Wealthy Wednesday box challenge. Those 2 videos will be coming out kind of that end of December, 1st of January. And so I want to wait and get everything done for December and then do the prop swap and then be ready to start in on January. So I will probably wait until the end of the month to be able to do that. So I probably will have a couple videos coming out on New Year's Eve. I'll plan to do my normal, Wednesday video where I'm working in the box challenge, and then I'll do a prop swap video probably like New Year's Eve, and then upload that. And then I think I will, my Thrifty Thursday video, I will have cleared that out by the end of the year, and everything will be ready just to start fresh in there. And so I'll just have my $2 Tuesday and my Savings Game Sunday binders that I need to do the prop swap in. So just a couple binders. So, but that will be the plan, to do that and get everything switched out as I move cashless for 2026. And so whenever I was looking at everything and coming out with my plan for the new year and how much I was going to save, you guys know I had that new car fund tracker that I've been using, the pink one, and I realized, since I'm going to be saving $200 a month, I need my cars to be $200 a piece. So the tracker that I had found online worked great, but it was now not fitting my needs. And so what I decided to do is create myself my own little tracker. So I needed to be, because I still want to try to reach 30,000 as my goal, but I needed to be able to mark something off each month, and I needed it to be the $200 because that's what I'm saving. And before, I had my cars represent $300 a piece, so that's why I decided I needed to be able to just do this, redo it. And so I just created this one quickly in Canva and put this together. So if you guys are interested in a new car fund tracker, let me know, and I can put this up on Ko-fi. So it would basically, it's got 10 across and 15 down, because that's what worked for me to be able to save $200 a month and have 30,000 as my goal still. So anyway, so I created this real quickly in Canva, but I just wanted to show you that. So I will be trying to update this every month at the end of the month and mark off another car. And then I still will be using my Let's Go on a Cruise tracker from April's Fresh Start. I did reprint this, so this was my original tracker, and I had laminated it and was using it kind of as the cover for my travel binder. And I decided that I wanted to print it off again and not laminate it, and just keep it in this binder here where all my little trackers are going to be, and just kind of keep everything together. So I reprinted that off, and I got it all updated with the amounts that I have saved so far, and I believe it's that I have $1,390, so $1,390 saved towards the cruise, and I have done that so far this year. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with that. And then as I was looking at everything, and I actually have $2,200 saved towards a new car. So I did want to mention that, because I was looking at the money that I had in my emergency fund, and I wanted to try to make it kind of more of an even balance. So I have $2,200 for my new car fund, $1,390 for my travel fund, and then the rest of the money in my money market is towards my emergency fund. And I have probably about, I haven't really sat down to do exactly how much, what my exact expenses are, for my required expenses. I'm not talking about all my fun Amazon spending. I haven't really exactly sat down to figure out what my mortgage is, the basics to live. But I probably have a 4 to 5 month savings of emergency fund if I were to lose my job. So I am okay on the emergency fund wise. Yes, I would like to build that up a little bit more, but these other things are a little more important at this point. So that's my goals for 2026. I was trying to keep this streamlined as much as possible. So my plan is to go down to 3 videos a week. I was getting the 3 fingers, and then I realized I had actually 2 hands, which would be double. Anyway, I don't know, y'all. So I want to go down to 3 videos a week pretty consistently, and then I may have some extra ones thrown in there from time to time, whenever I play in my travel binder, and then when I do a budgeting video and stuff like that. So I don't know if I will have weekly budget planning specifically videos, but I will at least a couple times a month or so at least try to, and maybe more, we'll see. And that may come out on a Friday if I end up doing a video. So we won't have the Wealthy Wednesdays at least not in this capacity with the box challenges. I'm going to let the box challenges go because that was going towards funding my personal expenses and Zoe's expenses. So those two particular sinking funds. And then my Fridays, every other Friday was going to the Flower Garden collab, which was going to play in the rest of my sinking funds. And since I've kind of revamped my budget and planning and I'm not really doing sinking funds, I just needed to revamp the videos and stuff that I'm doing. So that is the plan. So I will be coming out with my debt recap. That may not happen until January. It just kind of depends on when I get my although I can probably go on the app and take a peek. So I'll do a debt recap, which will be probably just a really quick video because I've already kind of shown you some of that already today. But I'll do that at some point towards the end of the year, 1st of January. And then I'm going to do my prop swap on my binders, and that will be on New Year's Eve. And then we've kind of talked about my budgeting, planning, setup, everything. So the only thing left, I think, for December that I will have as far as like extra videos will be my unstuffing of my December savings challenges. And then we have to unstuff the Ding Ding and the Bump the Camera challenge. So I may have just like an unstuffing video come out. It may not come out till like the first part of January, something like that. So, and then once I do that, and that'll probably be like some of the last unstuffings that I do because I won't have cash because I'm going to be moving forward with the prop money. So I hope that I get you. I know it's going to be a little bit of a switch and it's going to be, not as easy to pick up and handle, but hopefully I will get accustomed to it pretty quickly because I definitely just don't want to have so much cash flowing around. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this little video, kind of explaining my plans for 2026 and then my new setup, and how we're going to kind of move forward with things. So not a lot has changed. So you'll see a whole bunch of several new challenges. I guess I shouldn't say a whole bunch of new ones, but you'll see some new challenges in my Thrifty Thursdays. That binder is going to have some brand new ones that we're going to start. My $2 Tuesdays are still hanging out they'll hang out from December, and then probably I won't finish up all of my Savings Game Sundays in my Christmas challenges, so those will probably hang out into January as well. So playing with a lot less money in the Savings Game Sunday is going to be an adjustment. I'm going to have to kind of figure things out as I go, but I definitely probably am going to have to make that binder smaller and not have as many challenges. But anyway, we'll figure that. Either that or I just won't be able to play through it every single time, and then we'll have to note where we were and then start back at the beginning. Kind of like we did in the Cozy Seasons box challenge, where I played as far as I could, and then we started up where we left off. So, all right, guys. Well, enough yapping my jaw. That is my current plan and current setup for 2026. I hope you guys are kind of thinking about January already and what the next year is going to look like for you. And for me, it's definitely going to be a busy year as far as budgeting goes, if I'm trying to learn YNAB as well as do paper. So we'll see. I want to be able to utilize my workbook and stick with it. So I'm going to try my best to keep trucking on and kind of doing both of them side by side so that I can learn YNAB. And then I'm pretty sure that's what's eventually is going to happen, is everything's going to completely go digitally. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day whenever you are watching this, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye, friends.